I am Mutra, and we are in session 2 of Unicode Experimental. And today we are going to cover user experience design 101. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to cover these things, which is basically who I am, what I'm going to talk about today, how should you get started, what should you do next, and some gyan. Okay, so who? Professional introduction about me is that I'm currently working as a UX designer at ViewNet Systems. It's a Bangalore-based mid-sized startup that deals with AI operations. It's very data heavy. I do a lot of designing on the data visualization part of it. Um, I am also, thanks to the pandemic, I have deferred my admission to the MSHCI program at Georgia Tech for next year. So that's where I'll be next year. Um, Previously, I was at Medtronic India as an HFE intern, which is human factors engineering or ergonomics or stuff like that. Felix Edu, and I was also working as a UX designer at Felix Educare. That was kind of like my first internship, but I have to mention it here. And of course, I guess the best way you may have heard of me or known me or whatever is as the UX design and HR head at DJ Unicode. So thanks firstly for Unicode to organize this. This is so great. I absolutely love this initiative, and I feel like this is something that we wanted collectively as you know, all the batches that graduated, we wanted this in say our second or even in our third year to sit and watch on and try to explore different fields. So kudos to that. All right. Now, a little bit of a less professional and more human explanation to who I am is I'm kind of like a plant mom, ENFJ. I talk a lot, mm, uh, nature loving person. And yeah, DJ ke bahar wala chai, I just miss it so much in this pandemic, man. After we graduated, that was the first message we all sent on our group. We were like, we are really going to miss that chai. It's for reference, it's at Cooper ke gate, पीछे वाला gate के बाहर वाला chai guy. And I really like Taylor Swift. You're going to see some references to that soon. Okay, so jumping into the second section, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm going to talk about a few things, which is UX, UI, interaction design, and human-computer interaction. Okay, and I know that, especially when I was starting out, I know that it was extremely confusing कि क्या हो रहा है, what are these fields, how do I get started, what do people do in this, and where do people like from where do you how do you become a UX designer? Is it like a course that you take? Is it a is it like a degree that you can have or something like that? So I had a lot of questions. So yeah. Now, okay, sorry. Damn it. So before I go on to the next slide, before you understand what something especially as complex as design in general, it's important to know what it isn't. So what I'm not going to talk about today, and that is not because that is kind of because that is not my expertise at all, is design in a more graphic sense. So for every time that I got a rupee, when people ask me this, I would have had a whole pool of notes right now. So I'm not going to talk about can you, how do you make things look good or basically TLDR graphic design in general. But I'm going to uncover things that are a bit more than making things look good. Okay. All right. So now that brings us to the difference between UX, UI, and for people in Unicode who who are in the design team or something like that, they may have seen me ramble on about this, and this is a very important distinction to have if you're interested in UX, UI, which is that UI is basically kind of what right now you think that design is. visual design, colors, or like layouts and typography, and how to make things look good. That's more on the UI part of it. That's the interface that you interact with. And UX is more about how do you interact, in the sense like gestures, animations, stuff like that. Information architecture, which is basically how information can be structured. And there are physical prototypes, there are digital prototypes. Mainly UX is a lot about research, which is trying to find out what your user wants and what is right for them. And yeah, basically like that. So it's kind of like UX is very strategic, and UI is kind of the step that comes after it, and the step that comes before development. So if you make a sandwich, then UI is the middle part, and development can be like the next step that goes ahead. All right. Cool. This is great, right? So this is a very, very complex diagram about what design in its entirety, but I'm sure they've missed some fields too. But design in its entirety is, and this giant circle here is UX, is user experience design. Okay, so now you can understand, especially in India. Okay, there's a very primitive understanding of what UX is, which is that सिर्फ इतना मतलब interface design and how to make it look good, make me like ऐसा I see yellow and I feel happy वैसा. And I'm not even ranting about this. This is actually true, because most of my friends, if you ask them what I do, very sadly they are computer engineers, but they will tell you that I design screens using colors and typography, which I don't like, but I hope I can enlighten you on what this entire part is. All right, so as you can see, I'm going to cover UX. I'm going to cover UI as a result of you. I mean, I am sure a lot of you guys know what goes into UI and stuff. And I'm going to cover HCI. Okay, these are the three things that we'll cover today. Okay, so let me start with the UX design process. मतलब UX तो पता होगा तुम लोग को क्या है, पर what exactly is the UX design process, or how exactly can you describe it? Like, how do you get started? What do you do? कि coding में you make software, and the starting point is writing code, but with UX design, with making a screen feel, with making an experience be, something like empowering or enlightening or happy, stuff like that. How do you start? So before I tell you what the process is like, it's very important to know that in UX, the journey is much more important than the outcome, in the sense that all the insights that you get throughout that entire journey, the journey process, will be much more important than what your outcome will be. And so this is kind of like this is ye dekha hoga. If you guys are familiar with design stuff, then you might have seen these kind of this like a diagram which says the first step is empathize, the second is define, the third is ideate, then prototype, and then test. So the thing is, the first two points, they actually form what is called user experience research or user research. And this is a very important part of UX that often that you don't see. It's kind of like it's what is done behind the scenes. Whereas ideate, prototype, test is stuff that, okay, ideate matlab you draw sketches, you make ideas, you try to then put them on a digital tool like Figma or Adobe XD, and then you make a prototype of it, you make it high fidelity, and then you may do testing with people, like, okay, do you like this, do you like that? In a very crude sense, you'll do this. So you're aware of this, but this is often stuff that gets missed. And this is often, not often actually, this is user research is UX is so much in demand, because you're tapping into what people want, or rather what is right for people. So I mean, I hope this makes it easier. to understand. Okay, so I'll give you an example of one project that I worked on, which is, I was redesigning M Indicator. You guys might have used that app to go to college, maybe not this year, but earlier. And in user research, I learned. So what I did was I went on the station and I started, like, I spoke to like random people, just give me your experience about, what's your day like, how are you coming, how long does it take for you to come to the station, where do you buy a ticket or do you have a pass, or when your pass expires, what do you do, what's your go-to, and how familiar are you with technology, with apps, have you ever used M Indicator, how was your experience with it. So that whole, like this long set, long questionnaire kind of a thing. And what I realized is, what I learned is that a lot of the people, by the way, this is on the other station, so you'll find like every demographic of person over there. So a lot of the people know what Google Maps is. They have either experienced sitting in an Uber or booking an Uber, or they vaguely know what the interface looks like, and they're familiar with understanding that. And secondly, a lot of them are very familiar with ATVM machines, but they don't like it very much because they say it's kind of slow because I have to tap through a lot of steps. So these are the two main observations I had. And of course, there was a lot of complaints on M Indicator, the app being like extremely like, for the same route that I have to take, I have to type that route in, I have to go through that navigation in the app for those many steps and then see the timings every single day. And I'm in a hurry and that's just something I don't like to do, stuff like that. So basically, it's very slow, unintuitive, confusing, and repetitive. So this is kind of what I created, which this is from my portfolio. So you can see that you combine a thing that people are conventionally used to with something that can be improved, and like their feedback on this, and you kind of make the app like this itself. So if you guys have used the app, you know that this is not the default, this is not the first page that they have, and this is kind of like, it makes sense, right? Why didn't anyone think of this being the first page that they had on the M Indicator app? So this is just, I'm just giving you one example of what a UX design process is like. And of course in Ideate, so there are lots of sketches that I went through. I did a lot of sketching, rapid sketching था इसके लिए, because this was fairly, I knew the idea in my head. And prototype, this prototype is created on Figma. So Figma, is a tool. If you don't know, don't worry, I'll cover this in the end. And testing के लिए मतलब ठीक है, testing I didn't need it because I use the app a lot, but ठीक है. So of course I mean, another thing is that this entire app, this was my first time designing the app with a certain framework. So if at all you stalk me on the internet and you come across my Behance profile, which I don't know why I have kept up, but if you see that, you will see how I used to design earlier. That is when I started with user experience design and UI design and stuff like that. And you will see that there was not a very clear understanding of where text goes or what are frameworks, UI kits or stuff like that. So in this particular project, I followed material design, Google ka, and I understood a great lot about, where should we place buttons, how big should, there should be a nav bar, navigation is important, where do you place that? And there are some conventions, or there are some guidelines that are just, very important and kind of just set in stone for designers to follow. So that was a very interesting thing I learned from this. Okay. So by the way, I would really appreciate if you have a question. Please don't be hesitant to ask. Just unmute and ask. Otherwise, I'll keep going on. But unmute करके पूछना. There's no issue like that. ठीक है. Now, I'm going to give you an example of, by the way, ये जो project था ना, this is very old, so please don't judge my skills on it. I mean, judge it, it's good for you, but I hopefully design much better than this. But this is a very old but a very nice example of how you, as as a beginner designer, can start creating solutions. Okay, this is a more recent example. This is something called a design jam or a design sprint that I was a part of, where you were given, a problem statement, or you were given an application. Okay. Abhi this application, I know you can't see it very much, but this application was an app that gives pre-approved loans based on your details that you put in. Okay, so you put in your personal details, your employment details, and you put in your credit details. And based on based on their eligibility criteria, they tell you whether you're eligible for a personal loan or not. And these are pre-approved loans. Now in this design sprint, they had given us a persona. So personas are basically, there will be, you will have a lot of users, but for that particular app, if you want to design for a particular user or for a particular demographic, then it's nice to have a few personas in mind. You give that user a face, you give them a name, you give them a certain background. Okay, they do this and this in their entire day. Their profession is this. Their family members are so and so. Their hobbies are this. So just to give you, and mainly your persona will always end with a goal. So that person has a goal that is related to your app. So you have to make that, you have to make your experience nicer for that particular person in mind. It's always easier to design that way. So anyway, so we had one persona defined for this, and then we went into defining the challenge, not creating a solution. First, we went into defining what the actual challenge is, and then we went into creating the solution. Over here we went into sketches. This was a collaborative effort. This was with a team, and then we went into a storyboard, which is, we discussed over these sketches, and we said, okay, the flow of the app should be like this. Just to give you an example of, building a challenge statement, or the previous part, this section that is defining the challenge before you jump right into the solution. So this is, for example, we define barriers that she often could have, enablers, things that will enable her. Like, she wants a loan, so maybe she wants it because her daughter's marriage is coming. So that's kind of like an enabler. Like, situations like this that we can use to, design the app. Not everything can be used, but it's interesting to understand the user goals and motivations. Then we define how might we, so which is like, how might we, it's just an open-ended question. Ki how might we do this? So here, we had ki, acha, she gets rejected, but we don't mention why she gets rejected for that loan. So how might we better convey her the eligibility for the loan? Ki, this is the reason why you didn't get the loan and what you should do next. And third is, of course, your focus as from a business point of view. And then you go into what your objective is, and then you write a challenge statement. So this is something that, I'll encourage. If you guys have notes on hand, please write this down, which is that, you should define your challenge statement for every project that you take up, which is like, we are designing dash to dash so that dash. So in this case, we were designing the rejection workflow of the app to give her alternatives in case she gets rejected, so that she does not drop off from the app and still continues using the product. Okay? This is just one example. This is in case you're interested to know the outcome of the app. This was like a design sprint, so we designed this in like over a day. So this is we made it Hindi because the persona was like that, and we used audio messages, we used stickers because Indian Janta is very interested in stickers, and use testimonials to say ki acha, there are like 70% people in your area that got rejected too, just on the similar grounds as you got rejected. So don't worry, they were able to get a loan in within 1 month. So learn from them how you can. So kind of like she can, she continues staying with the app, which and like, so if you didn't have a design process, if you didn't have a design sprint in hand, then you would have just made a rejection flow and you would have just been like, okay, let's just notify the user that they are rejected. So design in that sense is important to, to question beyond this what, or to put your shoes, put yourself in the shoes of the user and, make them like understand how they are feeling, understand that in this case, she will feel stressed or she will feel sad or upset or frustrated or confused that, it got rejected. What do I do next? So you give her, options ahead. And I can still go on about this, but I'll go to. Okay. So I hope if you have any questions on UX design, not the how part of it, like how do I get started? If you have any other questions related to the stuff that I covered, you can ask now. Any questions? I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, fine, cool. So no questions. Going ahead. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is human-computer interaction. So, what is HCI? It's if you missed it, if you joined late, I'm going to next year I'm going to do a master's in human-computer interaction. So I know a little bit about it, and I'm going to share it with you. So basically, human-computer interaction is like the intersection of computers or CS and design and cognitive psychology, or here you can say sociology, ethnography, all that comes into picture. And to give you a little bit on what is the research side of HCI, it's a very research rich field. So for example, wearables in tech or sensor based stuff, or even mixed reality, anything to do with mixed reality comes heavily under HCI, because it's all about how the person is interacting with the environment. Designing games with a purpose or gamification, privacy, cybersecurity. There is also HCI and sustainability. There is feminist HCI. There is, design thinking and innovation based HCI. And there's, of course, like I said, wearables and, eye tracking and all that stuff. So it's extremely futuristic as a field, especially when you want to go into research. And, in India, you have this mindset that you have to choose one field. Like in the starting, you have to choose either science, commerce, or like arts or something like that. No, so we don't fully understand what multidisciplinary field is. So in that sense, the reason why this Unicode experimental session is so important is because there are going to be a lot of fields that are not in silos. So especially this degree in, for example, or this anything to do with HCI, for example, you'll have people. So in this particular case, when you're creating wearables, okay, when you're creating say like this, like this device, okay, you're going to have someone from CS, you're going to have someone from a more physical prototyping point of view, they're going to have someone from design, you're going to have someone probably from, I don't know, physics or something like that, from that side of thing. So it's extremely multidisciplinary is what I mean. So yeah. I'm not sponsored by Georgia Tech or by Human Computer Interaction as a degree, but I feel that it's very important to know that this is the acad side of a degree, academics. This is research. This is the practical side of it. So a lot of people after doing masters in HCI do get roles in UX design, product design, UX UI design, UX researcher, interaction designer, digital, I don't know what digital designers are. Okay. So this kind of a thing. Okay, so you need to know what, like a CAD is very different from what jobs you might have. So in theory, if you see it, if you think of it this way, that if you're interested in design and you thought that design was something that I could only do via a bachelor's in design and I missed my shot, that's not true. Actually, you have a much higher chance of having much better opportunities after you've done a CS program, because you know how tech works, you know a lot about that, which is why you see a lot of these job titles being backed by people in HCI, which are usually 50% CS grads, and than people in more of the design programs, because they lack the tech insight of it. Okay. If you have any questions, I know if it's getting a little vague, ask me right away. Or if you think that it's a very vague question, you need clarification, ask me in the end. But please note down your questions. ठीक है, अभी now we are getting into how to get started. ठीक है, so should I do code first? Should I just design? Should I code and design? What are unicorns? So unicorns are designers that can code, by the way. So I'm just stepping into that. Cool. The first thing of how is one you explore. But again, like I said in the previous slide, is if you're somewhat certain of your interests in the research as in user research, design or code spectrum. If you somewhat know कि नहीं मुझे coding में बहुत interest है, but मुझे design भी करना है. But if you are also interested in how people think and how people make choices or decisions, and you want to dig deeper in that, then you have an interest in user research. And otherwise, if you really want to make very very beautiful websites, very beautiful interfaces, you are very aesthetic as a person with in terms of interests, then you know that you have an interest in design. So if you're certain somewhat in the spectrum ki where I stand, or even if you're not, but you know that you stand in this spectrum, then it's important to know that these are the possible outcomes that you can have. These are the possible corporate jobs, or the possible maybe internships you can say you can apply for, or you can, when you are networking, you can look out for people with these kind of roles. Okay. Okay, getting started. Now I'm going to cover 5 tiles here, which is what to read, what courses you can take, how should you practice, or how do you develop, how do you put your knowledge to action. 4, how do you get experience, or maybe not how do you get experience, but experience. And 5 is showcase, or as a designer you're going to always have to show people how creative you are. So how do you get into that? Cool, let's jump in. Now 1 is reading. So you're always going to be reading no matter what field or profession you take in your college after your college degree. So you can get a lot of knowledge from websites, books, podcasts, or papers. Okay, in websites, again I'm going to reiterate this. If you are a note taker, please take notes. If you're not a note taker, please take screenshots. Cool. Also take notes, because there might be some things that fit nahi hua, so I'm going to say it out loud. So NN Group is the Nelson Norman Group, which is basically a consultation company founded by Don Norman, who's the grandfather of design. Basically, he's the guy who coined the word UX design. Interaction Design Foundation is a great website for a lot of, I think they cover every topic under the sun of UX design or design in general. UX Collective is a great, I think it's a blog, a lot of people writing great stuff. I think it's predominantly on Medium. They also have what do you call that, newsletter? Yeah, email newsletter. Sidebar.io is super great. will recommend. Please subscribe to their newsletter. Um, okay, let's get into books. Okay, now of course, websites. This is for your general reading and keeping up to date with tech. Okay, because like it's like things in tech plus things in design are always changing. Every day you have something new, so it may be overwhelming, but you have to try to keep yourself updated more or less. Okay, second thing is books. So the Bible of design is like the design of everyday things. It's by the guy who founded the Nelson Norman Group, which is called Don Norman. Sprint is a book called it's called book called Sprint: How to Get Design Done Very Fast or something like that. It's basically the author is basically the guy who developed the idea behind Google Sprint. So Google Sprints are basically designed really fast. The sprint process. Hooked, Don't Make Me Think, Steal Like an Artist. Note them down. These are great books for creatives. Podcasts. Podcasts are possibly, especially in quarantine, I've been relying on podcasts a lot to hear stories of other designers or to hear stories of how design is done at different companies. So you have Google Design Life, which is a podcast by Charlie Mary TV. She's a YouTuber who all speaks at length about how to get into design, what are the salaries of designers, stuff like that. Method podcast is again by Google. Hidden Brain, I love Hidden Brain. It's more on the psychology side of it, but it is absolutely interesting. It's amazing if you are interested in UX research or design in general. Past Lives by Spotify is a new podcast where they're talking about Spotify design and the designers at Spotify design. Um, okay, Twitter. Uh, I just joined Twitter recently, but I've realized, and I joined it because like I didn't have a design community that I could go to for like just seeing what everyone is up to. So if you ever feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to get started in design or something like that, join Twitter, but only follow the design people. Don't follow crap people. Your life will be ruined. Papers. Papers I mean here is research papers. If you're in second year right now, papers will seem a little bit heavy to you. So maybe unless you're clearly interested in research, try not to take this part too seriously. You can read that half a year or 1 year later. But if you're in third year, then the way you read papers is you go to university pages, you go to the faculty pages. You stalk faculty, they usually have a description of what that faculty is doing, their research areas, interest and stuff like that. And you read their papers from Google Scholar. There is a illegal way of reading papers, which is called SciHub.tk or something. I'm not sure which one, but SciHub, just Google it. I do not recommend it, but it is there and people use it. So, okay. Two. So we covered reading. Now we covered courses. Courses, the first one is IDF for Interaction Design Foundation, the one that I referenced before. Highly recommend using this for a good grasp of theory in design. Okay? And they have some excellent courses. They cover the depth of the course, the depth of the subject really well. But it's very theoretical and there's a lot of reading that you have to do. So if you're not more of the reading person, then you may not enjoy it as much. Coursera has very good design courses. I have done the interaction design specialization, 2 courses from that. And I really enjoyed it because they had peer graded assignments. And it was really nice to see what other people are doing and get feedback on your assignments, stuff like that. YouTube is great when you want to learn like quick how-tos. Like if you don't know what auto animate is in Adobe XD, or you don't know a certain feature, you quickly go to YouTube. I don't have to explain this, I think, but it's also good to experiment. So usually in design, I've realized this the hard way, but like in design, you need to be quite fast. in whatever you do, you have to optimize the amount of time you're taking. Even if you're making a fancy rectangle, you have to make it very fast. Okay. And YouTube is great for how to optimize your, whatever you're trying to achieve in that. Like, just search that. Booklets.io it's not a course, but it's actually a reading resource, but it has bite-sized information on UX and other design related fields. It's a website, by the way, if you didn't get it from the .io. And it's basically curated content from a lot of different established designers all around the world. It's also started by my friend, so that's great. A similar thing under booklets.io is you can see whiteboard.fm. It's a podcast. Their content is amazing. Mayank runs it. So superb content, especially if you want to break it into design. Very, very good. Highly recommended. And 10K Designers, which is actually a masterclass program. I don't know. I mean, I know what it is, but I have not experienced. I have not met anyone who's done it, so I can't speak for how it is, but I can say that the creators of it are pretty good. Now, the third thing is that if you want like a quick, quick fix to getting good at UX, or like if you're suppose you spend 2 years as a software developer and now you want to quickly change lanes to a UX job role. Sorry. Then one way to do is go to UX schools, which are like online UX schools such as Design Boat or UX boot camps, or like 10K Designers, like I said, is a masterclass. Yeah. Okay. Now. Yeah.
Can I just have a quick question? So about the interaction design thingy. So I was really interested in their site, but I am not sure about the subscription. I mean, like, should I go for it? If I'm not wrong, it's like a 2 year ka you take it ek saath or something. So I'm not like, what if I decide ki I don't want to do this? Then that's it.
Yeah, so that's a great question actually. So before you get that, before you get a membership, you need to go through their courses. Like they have a course summary and stuff, right? So you need to go through their courses and just see whether you really think that that course will be interesting to you. And you should have at least two or three courses that you really like. And if that justifies your if the return of that justifies your investment, then why not? That being said, like I told you, that it's a very reading heavy and it's theory based. You'll get a great understanding of the theory and the knowledge part, but you will have to do a project after that. So like you cannot just read design, you cannot just listen to it, you have to do something with your hands to like make sense of it, right? So if you're more of a very hands-on person, then think about it. But if you're okay with a theoretical course and then you're okay to keep yourself self-motivated for a project, then sure, go for it. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so coming to the third thing, which is practice. So in practice, basically, how do you put your skills to, like, how do you put your theory to pen and paper, to the screen? So one is you can do this via, so like I said, any course that you do, you're going to have to supplement it with a project. You cannot have the course standing by itself on your resume. It'll be a certification on your resume. That's great. People will look at it, feel nice about your learning, but they will need to see what you did from that. And this stands true in whatever field possible. So I don't have to stress on this. Second thing is learn from frameworks. So like I said, M indicator mein I use material design. Right now I'm referring to human interface guidelines by Apple. So use UI frameworks or guides basically, which are created by legendary companies, and they know what they're doing. So use them because they follow certain conventions that you definitely should be as a designer. You won't learn it by yourself. Tools. So there are some tools. So actually I'm not going to go into this too much. I'll take this up later at the end of the session. But there are tools for everything in design, and it can get very overwhelming and very confusing. But the important tools that I'm going to highlight here are that there are some tools that can generate problem statements for you to practice product thinking, for you to practice design thinking. So they give you problem statements and you take that problem statements and make a solution of it. So these kind of tools are super interesting. There are the same kind of, the same generators are there for UX copywriting, for UI challenges, etc. The next thing is hackathons. Now, hackathons is not just about coding, actually. There are UX hackathons, there are innovation hackathons, there are business hackathons. All of these will have some part of UX or some part of design thinking involved, and you can definitely participate, and you should, in any such hackathons. Yeah, the last point, of course, is that a huge part of practice is tracking your progress and documenting your work, because you are a creative that wants to show people what you're doing. Okay, so for you to show people, often you're moving so fast in the process that often you forget things when you're thinking of ideas, or when you're going from one step to the next. So in the end, when you're sitting to make your portfolio, documentation will become very, very important to you. Okay, the fourth point is experience. Learning at work is like the best or the highest form of learning that can be possible. How do you get experience to get more experience is a very interesting, what came first, the chicken or the egg question. But it's actually really great for creatives who can have a portfolio. So I'll tell you why. So you can do case studies. Oh, 1 minute, did I cover that? Sorry. You can do case studies, which are basically like you take a particular you can do redesigns, or you take Spotify and you redesign it. Okay. If you know a little bit about design, so you would have looked it up on Medium. People usually put case studies and examples and stuff like that. So you can always take, okay, everything in life around you is designed. So you can pick up anything and redesign it. You can critique it, or you can pick up a problem that you are facing every day and choose to solve that. Okay. So it's kind of good for you as a creative to build a profile to get more experience. That being said, when you're actually on the field looking out for internships or jobs, number one is referrals. Yeah, that's just the universal truth. I don't think life is supposed to be like that, but it kind of is that, like, referrals, asking your friends or your family, or your relatives for where they can pass on your profile and your resume and your portfolio to people that they know. Anything like that is great, and honestly the highest chances of you getting a job or an internship. Emails, that is emailing people. Now there's a whole art to this, and I think if you Google around how do I email for a job and you look more deep into it, you will get a good answer. But don't cold mail, or don't don't people know on the other end whether you're emailing like 50-ton people with the same message, or you're personalizing the mail to them because you're really interested to work for them. So there's a difference there. Third is AngelList. If you don't know this, just angellist.com, go and see what it is. LinkedIn jobs. I've heard that pandemic mein LinkedIn thoda bahut stale ho gaya. I mean, people are not getting responses because, of course, there's a job issue, like this whole internship, stagnation kind of a thing. But that's still an option for when things get better, or even now. You never know. You should always try out shot. Internshala is how I got my first internship. For a first internship, it's great, but after your first internship, maybe not internshala, because the companies there pay pretty low, and like they're not very great. They're usually very small startup companies. That being said, if you get an internship, please make sure that that company has a web page. They are like, you can trust them, and that they're, you know, like, hey koi on the other side, there's some legit banda sitting there, or a bandi girl also. Now the fifth one is showcase and feedback, which is portfolios or online presence. So I'm going to talk here about how you can build your portfolio, okay? Because back when I was building my portfolio, which is not that long ago, the way I say it, but back when I was doing that, I decided to go with code. But now I'm going to, like, my portfolio has to be redone because it's very shitty right now. I'm going to go with some other tools. So there are options like Webflow. So Webflow is like, um, it's like drag and drop code, but it's way more powerful, way more advanced. People have made games on Webflow, and people have make e-commerce sites on Webflow. So it's very powerful. Especially a hot take is that a lot of development jobs in the future are going to be, I really don't know what's going to happen to them, because you have a lot of powerful tools replacing very simple development jobs. So as a designer, especially, you should know some web building tool if you don't want to code. Wix or Squarespace is kind of like the, I mean, the poster child for drag and drop now. So I don't want to promote this, but if you want a quick fix, then this is the way to go. Notion is a very note this down and go to notion.com and just check out what it is. It's basically a note taking or like a planner app where you can plan everything in your life. And I think I'm going to be the biggest spokesperson for it. But they also have a very interesting feature to publish your page that you have. So you can actually, and I know I have checked out a lot of legit designers actually having their entire portfolio on Notion itself. So that's also an option you can do. Now, Behance, Dribbble, Instagram, these are things which come under online presence, but I won't promote them to be your portfolio. But if you're just starting out and you're not fully ready to, you don't have time to make a portfolio in the beginning, you can have your stuff displayed on Behance, Dribbble, Instagram. Okay, now we come to what next. So I'm talking, not what next, like right now next, but like once you're into this cycle of practicing, or you've at least got a hang of what UX design is or what a design process is like, and maybe got one project, two projects, and then now you're looking at, okay, what do I do after my graduation? Or what do I do within my graduation? How do I plan this out? These are your options. One, as we covered, is build experience. This is via internships. Two is try to include design in your acads. So one is join design at Unicode. That's going to be great for you. Or the second thing is try to take projects under professors which are more design domain based, or you can basically, even if it's not design domain, you can get a little bit of design thinking, stuff like that, from UX design or something. Explain them the importance of it. For example, my B project was in gamification, and it was gamification to promote plant education. So it really, and we didn't end up doing it like, don't say this anymore, but we didn't actually code much at all. It was basically just a prototype, and our majority of our research had gone into user research and all that. And we did get a research paper from that. So try to publish a paper, and if you're interested in design, then try to bring design to your acads. These need not be exclusive fields. Third thing being, sometime in your third year, you're going to have to, like end of third year, maybe mid third year, you're going to have to make a decision, or at least step into making a decision of what should I do next. Should I study further? Should I go for a job? Or, should I go for a master's within India? That is an MDes if you're interested in design. or should I do freelance? So these are all decisions that you will be making soon-ish. Now, fourth is it's always iterative in the sense that, just a minute. It's always iterative in the sense that, you know, your like design is an iterative process and life kind of is an iterative process. So sometimes you may feel like I really like this and I'm going to chase after it, but then soon you realize you like something else. So, well, keep exploring, and whatever you do, you make sure you do it well. That's important. And like the last one is like you can make your own option in case I missed anything. Okay, so I'm not going to explain all these points. If you can take a screenshot of this, or if you can don't write this out, just take a screenshot or a picture of this. I would really appreciate it because I've explained everything, and a lot of these points I will be explaining in the I know will come up in the questions. So I'm just going to go next. Okay, so we are coming to the final section, which is Gyan. I have a lot of advice. One is have a plan. Like I said, Notion, Evernote, notes, notebook, journaling. These are very underrated skills. Have it. I mean, this Gyan is not going to be design based. It's general also, but have a plan always. सेकेंड इज टाइम मैनेजमेंट. ये तो बहुत सुना होगा, मतलब पक गए होगे सुन के कि टाइम मैनेज करो, फोन पे मत बैठो, हाउ मेनी टीवी शोज आर यू गोना वॉच. बट टू बी ऑनेस्ट, दैट इज ट्रू. Wake up early, look at your screen time usage, especially in this pandemic. I have a lot of I have a lot of empathy for you guys because I know it's tough to not meet friends and to not have a social life, but also be in college, like that entire social interaction of it being stripped away. But you have to learn to take care of yourself, and you have to exercise, get vitamin D, play less aggressive games. Please don't do this. It's not very good for your mental health. And I'm saying this not as someone who's paranoid about tech, but as someone who has read a lot of research papers on how games and aggressive stuff affects your mental health. Yeah, set a timer on attention driven social media apps. Please get rid of social media if you can, honestly. It's really not good for you. And yeah, basically, kind of don't let life live you. You take control of it. Oh my God, this is the biggest point. Like associations in college have been my biggest life lessons because um how do I put it? There will be all kinds of people you will meet in college, and these are the most formative years of your adult life. These 4 years that you have, and by now you're probably halfway through it, and you would think that you know a lot, but you actually don't. You like you will still meet all kinds of people. There will be people that that will get like that you will get along with, that'll help you work out stuff. And then there'll be people that are questionable, that not intentionally or intentionally, they may get in the way of you and something that you want to do, or some interest of yours. Or there could be even teachers who can like I'm just going to put it out there ki some student teachers relationships are not very healthy to have. So try to not focus on that too much. These are just 4 years, and these are very important years of your life. So surround yourself with the right people who want to do creative things and want to do things all the time, and you'll be in good company. Fourth one is be optimistic, because just because you're being realistic about being in a tier 3 college doesn't mean that you put a leash around your dreams. And this hopefully is a testament to the fact that we have so many great seniors in so many great places. Okay, so don't let that stop you. I'll give you 5 minutes, please. Sorry. Yeah. Now the next thing is, like I spoke about this, that is document everything. Especially important to creators, such as document your ideas, findings, observations, progress, everything like that. And also, this is quite true. Okay, like the best ideas are you often get is too late. So if you can just make a notebook and you can have one section every day for like, ideas that you have, like any idea you have in the day, put it down, and you never know, in 2 years later you have a startup from it and you can be super rich after in the next 2 years after that. So you never know. Okay, this is extremely underrated, which is soft skills. I know that an engineering college is not the best place to understand, how soft skills are important. But once you do go into work, and I'm saying that as someone who is very extroverted and okay with talking to people or talking out loud and stuff like that, but I know there are some super intelligent genius people who often struggle with soft skills, that when I'm collaborating on a team. So it's very important for you to develop this, and one way to do this is that you can do the 16 personalities tests, which is like find out your MBTI type, read about your strengths or weaknesses, and kind of make like a SWOT plan for different phases in your life, so that you know what you'll be good at, what you won't be, and what you can improve on. Hot take: do not follow a path just because A, there is global hype around it, and B, there is local hype around it. If you find something cool, learn how to make it. Cough cough ML cough cough, in the sense that if you don't enjoy ML, or if you don't enjoy the buzzwords that is like AI, ML, data and like data analytics, or like whatever, data science, everything like that, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Try it, yes, but just because there's hype around it, and just because there's a whole bubble around it, does not mean that you go for it. So always, if you find something cool, learn how to make it. Whatever technology goes into being into making that, learn all that, go that way, think that way. Okay, all right. Questions? Okay. Do you have any questions? So I'm just going to the next slide, and I'm just going to I'm just going to disconnect from my laptop and join from my phone. All right. So till then, if you guys have any questions, then we can cover that. Jay, Jaya, Yashodan, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just quickly make that transition. Okay.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. I'm so sorry for that transition. I actually had to give my laptop to my brother. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, we can take them now. And you can like I said, you can also ask anything that's more specific to your your experience or your role. That's fine too.